shooting, you're killing, you're doing what you do to each other for a color.
Drugs, guns, gangs.
We obviously have a gang problem here in Suffolk County.
Getting busted is just the beginning.
In and out of prison all my life. I've been coming to prison since I was 15. I'll be 40 years old this year.
But once they're inside the jail, what keeps these inmates from making the same mistake twice?
Bloods, Crips, MS-13, these big bad gang members.
We don't want to be in jail. We don't want to come back to jail, but sometimes we have no other choices when we get out except going back to that lifestyle. That's the only thing we know.
I'm Elizabeth Hasagen inside the Suffolk County Jail here in RiverHead, and once a week inmates here meet in what's called the Council for Unity. It's a program that actually started at Sing Sing Prison, and the jail here in Suffolk County is the first county facility to run the program. And during that program, the inmates here get a chance to share their stories. So even though they're behind bars, it gives them a chance for change.
Behind bars, your freedom is gone. A cell is your new home. A public bed, a public sink, a public toilet. Not a place you'd expect to find understanding.
Facing 35 to life.
But inside these cinder block walls,
I don't know, I'm 24 and I just want to change my life right now, because if I don't change it now, no telling where I'll be at
the Suffolk County Jail in RiverHead.
You're shooting, you're killing, you're doing what you do to each other for a color.
Inmates, gang members are joining forces to change their ways and change their lives.
If I've been coming to prison since I was 15, I'll be 40 years old this year.
It's called the Council for Unity. More than 20 inmates from different gangs.
I used to be Crip.
Different backgrounds.
I was a follower growing up. Now I'm facing 25 to life for being a follower.
All sharing stories.
I'm only 24 years old. I already did 8 years in state prison.
And realizing they're not so different after all.
I lost family members over gang violence and money and drugs, and losing a lot of my cousins in jail. It's just crazy because you realize that ain't nothing really out there for gang members except for death in institutions. Like they tell you when you're young, you really don't believe it till you see it.
The way we lived was, BS. Running around banging on each other just because we got on a different color or just because we chill with a different gang. It's not right.
Each inmate has a story about violence ripping their lives apart.
My kid's mother had a little brother named Kahim. Kahim looked up to me. At that time of my life, I taught Kahim how to cook up cocaine, how to cut heroin, and how to sell drugs. I taught Kahim how to fight. Kahim just wanted to be like me. In 1991, I was out of town. Kahim stole a car, and in the process of the stolen car, he almost killed a New York City police officer. He was sentenced to 3 to 6 and 1.5 to 4. Because of his charge, he went to Elmira. From Elmira, he went to Comstock, then to Katsaki. Y'all all know how those 3 jails are. While he was in Katsaki, he became blood. He turned the 3 to 6 into 10 years. Because of his gang affiliation, he plotted to assassination of a correction officer. He received 2 years in federal prison for that. He spent 12 years banging upstate New York as part of the Bloods. It changed his whole mentality. Now, mind you, Kahim went to jail at 16. He has no children. He was trying to prove himself to be the toughest that he could possibly be. After he finished the bid, they sent him to Lewisburg Federal Prison. He did 2 years there, then he ended up in Texas for the last portion of his bid. His mind, because of the gang violence and the mentality, was so far gone that when he came home, he thought he was going to spread the Blood Nation. He only stayed home 6 weeks. He caught 5 armed robberies and 3 murders. He's in Texas now doing 3 triple life sentences, all because of the mentality of the gangs and the things we spread. He wanted to be like me, and he wanted, and that's what it got him. Every day, Kahim is a burden on me because I feel that I played a hand in that, just the way old timers in my neighborhood played a hand and taught me the things that I know. And I don't want to teach those things to nobody.
How many people in here has had a family member or a very close friend died behind this gang violence?
There's about 8 nieces and nephews of mine that have died, because of gang violence. And that's why I came to the Council of Unity to try to change that.
We obviously have a gang problem here in Suffolk County.
Suffolk Sheriff decided to make the jail in RiverHead the first county jail in the nation to run the program.
give them an exit strategy to leave a gang when they get out of here. And while we have them here, we want to do everything we can to give them an opportunity to get out of a gang.
One thing my mother told me on the visit last week is that she's not happy that I'm in jail, but she'd rather see me behind bars and been over my gravesite.
Bloods, Crips, MS-13, these big bad gang members, some who have committed very violent crimes, who get up and speak about their lives in front of their peers, and as they speak, you see like emotion come out, and they actually, some of them times they actually break down, and when they realize what they're actually saying, and this might be the first time in their lives that we're ever given an opportunity to express themselves.
You don't have to be afraid to show your true emotions and feelings. As men, we tend to be afraid to show our true colors because we have to always be guarded. You know what I mean? What the council has shown me is that you don't have to be guarded all the time because we all going through the same things in here. We all deal with the same things in life. So we are able to help each other grow as men. We don't want to be in jail. We don't want to come back to jail, but sometimes we have no other choices when we get out except falling back to that lifestyle. That's the only thing we know. Council gives us the ability to learn other things about ourselves and about the world to make us grow as people and teach us the right things to do in life.
They may be bound by this barbed wire fence, but with this program, the inmates say they're finally free to share their stories without fear.
I got a son out there that's 11 years old, and I know I was growing up without a father, and I chose this life right here. And I don't want my son growing up like me. I don't want nobody's kids growing up being in jail.
Meet the father and son changing their lives while dad is behind bars. Welcome back to our special half-hour show, Behind Bars, A Chance for Change. I'm Elizabeth Haushagen, and I'm actually inside the Suffolk County Jail, and this is where it all happens. This is the chapel, and it's where inmates meet each week to discuss some of their feelings in what's called the Council for Unity. They actually sit in these chairs and try and heal the hate that landed them in handcuffs. Through words, drawings, and even tears, they tell their life stories. And in time, former members of rival gangs transform into members of a united family. A bed, a book, some slippers, and a bar of soap. A few of life's little necessities, but they're the only things this man can keep in the place he calls home. Thomas Green has made the Suffolk Jail in Riverhead his home for the last 32 months.
I was at the wrong place at the wrong time. A couple of my friends started shooting, somebody got killed, and I was there, so I gotta do time for it too.
Now Green is about to head to prison upstate to begin his 15-year sentence for murder. But while he was in this jail in Riverhead, he says his life was changed for the better.
It's the first time I've ever been part of something that's good.
That something good is the Council for Unity, a program that brings inmates together so they can learn from their mistakes. It was during one of those meetings that he reached out to a correction officer for help, concerned for his 11-year-old son.
My son was acting up. I didn't want him to turn out to be like me. You know, he living in my hood. Everybody was calling him by my nickname, and he felt like he had to grow up to be like me.
I was getting in trouble and doing bad stuff that I shouldn't supposed to be doing.
That's when Green found out that the Council for Unity isn't only behind a barbed wire fence and inside of a jail, it's also inside of our schools.
Like not getting in trouble, moving on in life. Not falling behind other people.
Carnell started going to council meetings and says it changed his thinking and changed his life.
Ever since he's been going to Council for Unity, he's been doing better in school and stuff. The first night I talked to him, he told me he liked going there. He wanted to go there by himself and stuff. And I know if my son is part of something that's good, he'd be better than me. Because when I was young, his age, I ain't have nothing to be a part of. I was just running the streets with crazy people, doing crazy things. So the program is good for him, because at least I know he got positive people around him.
At the end of that session, I was looking at Carnell's face. His eyes were alive. He was beaming, he was home, he was safe. And he's been coming twice a week since then. And that's what we gave back to Thomas, a promise that this family doesn't just exist in here. It exists everywhere. And now his son is part of the program.
And the council has taught Tom to be honest and share his feelings, not only with inmates, but also with his son.
It ain't worth it. You know what I mean? I'm telling you it. Look at me, it ain't worth it, man. I've been selling drugs since I was 17, and I ain't get nothing out of it. I mean, you don't get nothing out of selling drugs, playing with those guns, none of that, man. I regret all of that, everything I was doing. My mother always told me to stop, but I was hard-headed, you know. Now I'm learning the hard way. I got 15 years to do.
But the changes in himself and his son now has Tom picturing a different future.
When I get out, I'm trying to get a job and be back in my son's life. I'm in his life now, but I want to be with him. And I made that promise when his mom died that I always be in his life. I'm still in his life, but I'm not there with him. I don't want him to make the same mistakes that I made.
And what kind of life do you want for your son? What type of future do you want?
I want him to be somebody, because that's what me and his mother is always talking about. That he gonna go to college, we gonna make sure he go to college and be somebody. Be better than me. Make sure you get his birth and his mother, you know. That's what I want to do.
So Thomas's journey is not a journey of failure. It's a journey of possibility. That's what I see.
And it's a life full of possibility and potential that fuels the program here at RiverHead High School. You see, Thomas and his son aren't the only ones that need to reach out for help. Many of our Long Island students are dealing with the tough reality of guns and gangs. That's why schools across Long Island like Central Islip, Brentwood, and Patchogue, and right here in RiverHead, now offer the Council for Unity program. But it was RiverHead High School that became the first on Long Island to offer the program in 2003.
The RiverHead model for Council for Unity is a very unique model because it takes not only the school system and the correctional facility and the police department, but it also takes the community and brings it together so that we can all help raise children and hopefully decrease the problems that we've had around the town with gang violence.
In a diverse high school, there's often division. The council was looking to erase the hate and show students there is a better way.
We didn't use only the kids that were involved in gangs. We used it with a very diverse group of kids. Because one of the things that you find in Council for Unity is if everybody's together, there's nobody to make fun of. And if there's everybody together, there's nobody to fight. So we bring representations of every group. And when we found out that when they were together and they met and they talked, they found out that there were so many similarities in their life that they didn't realize. They figured because they were from a different culture or a different background, they were different people, and they didn't realize that they had same life experiences that the other ones had, and it was really interesting.
Sometimes they'll talk about very personal issues, issues with their families, parents, brothers, sisters, cousins who've been involved in some pretty graphic crimes. They'll open up to us. Sometimes they ask for advice. Sometimes they ask why the police department does certain things, why we react a certain way.
A guy out of Harvard could not convince a child in crisis the way one of these guys can.
Council founder Bob DeSena says he brings former gang members to talk to the kids so they can hear about the consequences of their actions from people who have lived it.
We break the cycle. That's why RiverHead is critical. No other community that I know of has done what this community has done. This is the source. We have people coming here from Buffalo, from Albany, from other parts of the state. RiverHead is the living laboratory for what cities and towns in America could become. And it's in this place, and it's a miracle. It's a miracle.
When you give a child self-respect and esteem and show them that there's more than what they're being told or shown on the streets, they're going to take a better road, a more positive road. Give them opportunity and give them hope, and they'll grow and hopefully give back to the community that they belong to.
And while the students here at RiverHead High School may now be giving back to their community, the question is, what happens to the inmates when they get out of jail and back to their own communities?
I'm 24 and I just want to change my life right now, because if I don't change it now, no telling where I'll be at.
Will these former inmates go back to life of gang war once they get free? Welcome back to our special show, Behind Bars, A Chance for Change. I'm Elizabeth Hashagen, inside the Suffolk County Jail. And this is actually where the prisoners end up. It's a holding pen, and it's where they're processed when they first come to the jail. And they have to trade in their gang colors for this color, a green jumpsuit. That's what they get, just the bare necessities, shoes and soap, a cup inside that laundry bag. But what they also get is a chance for change. Once a week, a group of about 20 inmates take part in the Council for Unity program, and it pushes them to end the fighting on the streets. In time, many of the gang members go free, but do they go back to a life of crime?
It don't matter what set you claim or what gang you belong to or what you're doing. 2 or more people in any act of violence is a gang. It's a charge, you're going to jail for it. So it's really more than the colors, it's really more than the sets, it's the mentality and how you're thinking.
It's that gang mentality that the Council for Unity is trying to change to show the inmates that there are options when they get out of jail.
I'm not part of a gang anymore, and I'm glad that I could come down here and be around present and former gang members, and we could all smile, joke, laugh, confide in each other, you know, and show each other love. And I think that's very important.
I'm going to be a role model. Anyone that's known me, I've always been in jail planning my next bid, planning how I could sell drugs better, how I could not get caught. I don't think about those things no more. I'm serious about counsel, and this is something that I'm taking home with me.
I'm actually proud of the inmates that actually come down and make a conscious effort to change their lives.
Cesar Cortez is one of the inmates that credit the council for changing his life.
A lot of people come in and they plan their next caper, they plan their next bid. I plan how to stay out of here, how to stay home, how to do things the right way.
Cesar is headed to an upstate prison for 7 years for dealing drugs. He says now he looks to a future where his focus is on being a father.
I look at this like a speed bump. It's a 7-year speed bump, but it's still a speed bump because I have so much life still to live and I have so much to give. Sometimes this is what it took for me to be able to live the life that I needed to live. So I guess I look at this as a positive thing too. I did good things in my life, but at the same time I always went back to doing the negativity because that's what comes easier. A lot of times we don't think about doing the positive because the positive is harder for us to do. The negative is always there, it's easier. So we just go that easy route. And then when I came to jail, it's like, damn, that's not easy. Because the time that they're giving to people right now, it's not worth it. All the time I gotta spend away from my wife and my son, it's not worth it. I miss my son, really. He's 6 now, so he's playing sports, and I'm a big sports fanatic, and that's what I do. So it just sucks that I'm not there with him through this first basketball and baseball season. It just hurt to know that he's growing into a young man without me being there.
Cesar says he knows the next 7 years won't be easy, but he plans to stay positive and focused on coming back to Brentwood a different man.
I need that. You know, I need counsel in my life because it keeps me on a positive edge. Now it's like I look at it like this situation is unavoidable. Like, you know what I mean? I don't have to deal with that person if I don't want to, but I have to deal with the counsel because I need it.
If you want more information on the Council for Unity program at RiverHead High School or the program here at the Suffolk County Jail, just head to news12.com and you want to click on that Blogs 12 link. And if you want more candid interviews with the inmates, we have them for you on channel 612 on your IO digital cable box. I'm Elizabeth Hasshagen. Thanks so much for joining us for Behind Bars, a chance for change. Gangs might be a reality here on Long Island, but now too is the Council for Unity and its promise of a better life once these inmates get out of jail.